It's time to go through what's new in horror in comics this week, and it's the second week in a row where I haven't been able to use my
ass and titties
music. What, are horror comics getting reputable or something? Never fear, I'm sure we'll sleaze it up again next week. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights. I'm ML Miller. Before we begin, please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications. Let's check out This Week in Comic Book Horror, March 23rd, 2022. FRANKENROCKER and the Jailbait Punks, #1, is from Bad Kids Press. The story is by Roel Torres, with art by Lukas Kowalczuk. This comic describes itself as a Saturday morning cartoon version of Galaxy Quest meets the Sex Pistols. Apparently, Frankenstein's monster hooks up with an all-girl punk band and heads out for an adventure in outer space. Okay, where do I sign up? Sounds goofy enough to work. Ice Canyon Monster #2 is from Blood Moon Comics. The story is by Keith Rommell, with art by Jonnuel Ortega. A shaman unleashes a mythical monster off of the coast of Greenland, unleashing tentacled fury on the locals. This seems to be a fun mix of Cthulhu and cryptid themes with one big tentacle monster. These Blood Moon comics are as indie as they come, but I like the cut of their jib. Cover of Darkness #3 is from Source Point Press. The story is by George Michail and Chris Cam, with art by M.J. Hiblen. Frankenstein's widow reanimates his corpse, but he comes back a very different man than she once knew. Meanwhile, the rest of the monsters are trapped in a twisted circus. It's more classic monster mayhem in this indie from Source Point. HOTELL, Volume 2, #4, is from AWA Upshot. The story is by my buddy John Lees, with art by Dalibor Talajić and Loughridge. A man and his ailing dog checks into John Lee's haunted hotel. This continues to be a fun Twilight Zone-esque series, full of all kinds of strange and sinister twists and turns. I look forward to every single installment. Count CROWLEY, Amateur Midnight Monster Hunter #1, is from Dark Horse Comics. The story is by David Dastmalchian, with art by Lukas Ketner. A horror movie host is forced to use her knowledge of the macabre to take on monsters to save her friends and family. Meanwhile, a vampire arrives in town on a red-eye flight. This kind of sounds like a mix of Fright Night with Elvira, which actually sounds pretty cool. Can't wait to check this one out. KILLADELPHIA #20 is from Image Comics. The story is by Rodney Barnes, with art by Jason Shawn Alexander. A new time-bending character named Seesaw makes her debut in this series, as it continues to unravel the dark and twisted secret history of the United States. It features vampires, werewolves, and all kinds of things that go bump in Philadelphia. MANIAC of New York, The Bronx is Burning, #4, is from AfterShock Comics. The story is by Elliott Kalan, with art by Andrea Mutti. After escaping the school he massacred in the last issue, the Maniac is on his way to a baseball game on opening day at Yankee Stadium. With a packed crowd, there's going to be a whole lot of carnage once the Maniac is done with them. I'm absolutely loving this slasher/detective story. Old school slasher fans should flock to this one. Task Force Z #6 is from DC Comics. The story is by Matthew Rosenberg, with art by Eddie Barrows. With the Lazarus drug hitting the streets, that means all sorts of old villains are coming back to haunt the alleyways of Gotham. My pal Matthew Rosenberg is behind the wheel of this fast-paced and gnarly series featuring zombie versions of all of your favorite Bat villains. We Have Demons #1 is from Dark Horse Comics. The story is by Scott Snyder, with art by Greg Capullo. Those of you, like me, who didn't read this series when it premiered on Comixology, now have a chance to read it in floppy form. I honestly can't wait to finally read this new demonic story from the hit Batman team of Snyder and Capullo. The Department of Truth #17 is from Image Comics. The story is by James Tynion IV, with art by Jorge Fornes. The Department of Truth has faced some big cases, but this conspiracy is the biggest one of all time. James Tynion and his new artist, Jorge Fornes, takes on the fake moon landing conspiracy. And of course, it's not as cut and dry as it seems. One of these days, I plan to give in to the hype and binge this whole paranoia-laden series. Any of these new comics interest you? I'll definitely be checking out Count Crowley, Maniac of New York, We Have Demons, and eventually I'll be getting to the Department of Truth. How's about you? Let me know which ones you're looking forward to reading down in the comments.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're